Hey, in this new mini devlog for my roguelike game Caves of Umbra, I will show you how I create new weapons for this game. And as an example, we are using the brand new Slime Blaster. Other than the already existing weapons, this one is an effect based weapon. So enemies will get a status effect when shot. The effect of this gun is obviously the slime effect that makes enemies move about 50% slower. Also, this gun doesn't have much ammo per magazine, with it only being 5. The process of making a new weapon always begins with taking an already existing weapon so that I can adjust things based on this. I also need to put the weapon into my list in the weapon manager, but that process will change once you can obtain new weapons in the game. As you can see, I'm not starting with the visuals of the weapon, but I'm immediately starting with setting up the variables like ammo, damage and so on. I'm also now beginning to write the code for the whole system of applying an effect to enemies. So for the ones interested in the code, I began with putting together an enemy effect manager, just like I have the effect manager for the player. One important feature I wanted to implement here was also immunity to certain effects, so that you, for example, can't give the slime effect to the slime enemy. After that, I created another script sitting on the bullet of the player, and it is for applying an effect to an enemy. I'm trying to design this whole system as expandable as possible, so I can just add as many effects to the game as I want. At first I thought I could just copy and paste the whole code of the script for applying an effect to the player and just change the player effect manager.instance to enemy effect manager.instance. But then I obviously noticed that there's more than one enemy and I need to apply the effect to the enemy I just shot. For that I first deleted the code that is responsible for the UI because I really don't need that. And then I created two parameters for the apply slime effect function, being the length of the effect and the target that we are replacing the player effect manager.instance part with. Now I need to integrate this into the bullet script, and later I noticed it would be easier to create a new script just responsible for this effect bullet. Instead of the basic mono behavior class, I'm going to use my already existing bullet script here, so I don't have to rewrite the complete code, but I can just change a few things here and there. Down in the onTriggerEnter2D function, I now can get what enemy the bullet just hit, and then I can set that as the target for the apply slime effect function. Lastly, I just need to integrate the slime effect into the movement code of the different enemies, which is very easy because we just have a couple of different enemies that some even share the same movement behavior. This is also why I'm worrying about the effects this early in development, because it's just so much more easy. Also, at the start, things didn't work out very well, and this is simply because I forgot about the whole part of actually setting the new movement speed and not just having an unused variable laying around in my script. But after that quick fix in the movement scripts, it finally works and I can move on to creating a nice sprite for this new slime blaster. When drawing new weapons, I first need to do a lot of research on how guns are designed, because I really don't know much about guns. And I often search for both how real weapons look like, but also how video games handle this thing. This time I'm going a lot more with the approach of video games, and I thought of weapons that look like they're containing slime. What thing is, for example, close to slime? Maybe paint? So I could just look up how weapons in Splatoon, for example, are designed. This actually was the way to go, because this design of this Splatoon weapon right here actually fits so well for a slime blaster. So I first traced the shape of the weapon from Splatoon, and then I adjusted things to fit the whole slime theme a lot more and also to fit the style of my game. After some time I then was pretty happy with the sketch, so I moved on to creating the line work, which is a lot smoother and less rough than the original sketch, as you can see. Now I filled in the different flat colors, and I wanted to work a little more with cold colors this time, because that fits very well with this vibrant green I use as the slime color. Next it was time for shadows and highlights, but I need to make it so that you can rotate the weapon as you want and the lighting is not messed up. So there was no direction the light is actually coming from here. That is one thing I always need to worry about when making weapons. Lastly, I did some texturing with a watercolor brush, and then I added in just a few details here and there, and the sprite is finished. After I then threw this new sprite into Unity, did some adjustments to the scale of the weapon and set it to be a two-handed weapon, so both hands are holding the weapon, I can present to you the new Slime Blaster weapon. I really hope you like this new weapon and the idea of effect weapons. If you have some feedback or maybe even new weapon or effect ideas, I'd highly appreciate it if you comment them down below. Also, if you don't want to miss these videos on Caves of Umbra, in the future you can subscribe to the channel, which would also really mean the world to me. With that said, see you next time, cheers.